Alright, I'm not really sure why I'm doing YouTube content again, but I guess I'll do it because this bike seems to have a lot of interest, so I'll talk about it. Today, I wanted to take a quick look. I just took the front wheel off. I wanted to take a look at the oil viscosity and the level in the fork. So I'm going to put ATF in here, but I want to check the actual level that the oil sits at, and I have no idea what viscosity it is, but I'm pretty sure it's not ATF. It's probably 7 to 10 weight oil, and I think that's way too much for this bike. The rear end's a whole different story. The rear end, I don't even know if it's serviceable. The rebound is just so slow. Let me see if I can get an image of the rebound here. If I push on it, you can see how slow it comes back up. It's hard because the thing is moving because it's on hooks, but trust me, it's way too slow. And what happens is it's packing up when I ride it, and the scary part is that if you hit a bump with the suspension set up this way, the wheels lose contact with the ground and it feels really sketchy. So I either have to see if I can service this shock. I'm going to take it out. I'm going to measure the eye to eye, which is the bolt on the top and the bolt on the bottom. This is a non-linkage suspension system. It's directly bolted like a PDS shock directly to the swing arm. If this is not serviceable, and I don't think it is, there's a, looks like a bleed valve up here, but I don't think that's going to help. I don't know if I can take this thing apart. It does have, underneath here, you can see that there's a spanner wrench that would fit into the cap. So that's a good sign, because normally that's the first portion of the shock that would come apart. But it does have nitrogen in it, but I don't see a Schrader valve to put the nitrogen back in. So I might end up having to look at a shock that has adjustability for the rebound, because I'm telling you, it doesn't build confidence with the suspension set up the way it is, and I don't think that even somebody who weighs a lot more, that it would matter, because it's not a matter of spring rate, it's a matter of incredibly slow rebound. Meanwhile, I will tell you that the bike is definitely good stuff. I mean, it's only 8 horsepower, which is pretty low, but considering what the bike is for, the intended purpose, I think it's great. So I guess I should probably mention that these caps were loosened up ahead of time before I took them out of the clamps, because it's easier to do that. I don't know what to expect out of here, but I want to bleed the fork first. Okay. A little bit came out. I don't know how much preload's on these springs, so I'm a little nervous because I've never taken these apart before. The company that makes most of this stuff is a company called Zuma. Z-U-U-M-A-V. Most of the stuff on this bike is branded Zuma. I really wish I had a voice, but I own one, I just don't have it here. Jeez. Holy crap. I'm holding it away from me because I don't know. Oh, okay, there we go. Alright. So. Well, it looks pretty standard. Pretty standard. Cap itself. No preload spacer, and then a lock nut underneath there. I guess I'm going to have to take the spring out because I can't check the height of the oil. So I'm going to do that after I take apart, loosen this thing up. They are 40 millimeter, by the way, the cap. So I didn't have anything at 40 millimeter. And buying a socket wasn't really worth it because most sockets that are that big require a 1-inch drive or maybe a 3/4, and I don't have that either. And I could have bought an adapter, but I figured this from Duratec, it's does the job. And I'll probably only use it once or twice a year, if that, you know, to service the fork or whatever. But and by the way, okay, here we go. By the way, these gloves are finally something that I really love and would want to keep. Milwaukee, I have a medium hand. They fit super well. They're tight, but not too tight. They're durable as hell. They don't make your hands sweat, and I still got really good dexterity. So compared to the latex gloves or the nitrile gloves, these are hands down the best. I got them at Depot. I bought 2 pair just because I was amazed at when I put them on. First of all, the fact that they even had medium, it was amazing because they never have anything smaller than large usually. So these things fit well, and they are great working on the bikes. Even when you get oil or gas on the palms, you can easily just wipe them down with a paper towel and they dry pretty quickly. So I just wanted to point that out because working on bikes with rubber gloves that don't fit, like these lodges, suck. They're so big and there's so much slack on it that you just don't have the dexterity anymore. Alright, I must have some red Loctite or something on here because it was tough to get off. So here's what I did. Just spaced it out a little bit. I put just to relieve the pressure on this, I put just a 11 millimeter wrench underneath it because it's a little bit easier to keep this 17 loose without the pressure of the spring. And the spring's not going anywhere because the lock nut needs to be pulled off in order for that to happen, so I'm just going to loosen it up. But not having a vise makes this job much harder. Very nice build quality though, right? Really nice. Alright, let's see if I can get this loose now. Probably not, because I got a lock. Let me see. On the bottom. Oh, that's right, I don't need to do that. I can take this right out. Alright. Alright, so this is the item find the depth of the oil, I'm going to leave the dampening rod up all the way. I can see that it's probably about, the oil levels are right around here. That's showing up? Yeah. Okay, so put this down. I'm going to bring the rod down a bit. And see if we hit oil. Nope. So it's a little bit further down. Doesn't look like it. A little bit further. Yep, I think that's it. So I'm going to wipe it off. Just like a dipstick. There should be like a drop of oil on the base of it if it's hitting it. Yeah. Okay, so that's the depth. That's the depth of the oil right now, which is roughly 140 millimeters down from the top of the tube. That's with the tube all the way compressed and the dampening rod up. Okay. Definitely we hit oil there for sure. Okay. So I'm going to lock this in place. Just out of curiosity, I want to make sure they're the same. They should be. Huh. This one seems like it's a little lower. Or a lot lower. 155. Yep. Okay, so 155 versus 140. I think I'll put him at 155. 155 meaning from the top of the fork leg tube down. So the higher the number, the lower the oil level. I'm not trying to go nuts with this stuff. I just know that the bike, this is like the one thing on this bike that I think needs to be improved on. It's just the dampening. Even the spring rate can stay the same. Because most people are going to weigh at least what I weigh, if not more, 140, 145. And although I can't really obtain 100 millimeters of sag on the rear, and the spring rate would have to be dropped slightly, it's not a deal breaker because I'm not using the bike to race or do anything serious with, so that is doable. But what's not doable is the rebound stroke is just way too slow, and it makes a huge difference in the quality of handling, and it really feels sketchy if I just hit the slightest rock, even when I'm not in a corner. If I'm just leaning the bike, I noticed it's scary. And from the manufacturing side of things, it's an easy fix. It's just a matter of opening up the orifices on the valving of the shock and fork, and that's it. Probably could even use the same oil as long as the orifices on the valving was bigger to allow the oil to squeeze through quicker. Right now, the fork out of the rear, Out of the front and rear suspension, the rear is by far the worst. The reason why I didn't do it first is because it really doesn't look like it's serviceable. But I will pull out the shock to see if that is in fact the case. But I have a feeling it's not serviceable. If it isn't, then I either put up with it, which I really don't want to do because it actually feels, like I said, very sketchy. And if it feels sketchy to me, it's a new user's not even going to know that it shouldn't feel like that. And I really don't want to spend a ton of time or money on this. I just want to get it so it's a little bit more acceptable. Well, the battery died, so I ended up putting the oil at about, what is it? 152, about 152 millimeters from the top. They're even now. I put the springs back on. Just gonna put a little in here. Hell is that? Come on. Okay, that takes care of that. Okay. I'll snug these up on the bike once they're in the clamps because it's really hard to grab the fork leg. I don't really know if it's going to make a big difference. If it doesn't, then the valving is the only other option. But this is the easiest way. I just don't think I'm going to get away with anything easy on the shop because it doesn't look like it's rebuildable. So I got to look into that. I'll look up the torque specs on these, just want to get them snugged up first. I don't even know if they have torque specs on any of this stuff. Like if they're available. Guess I'll find out soon enough. So I'll make sure they're at the same height. No doubt about it, this is improved. As far as the resistance The dampening is much faster than it was. No doubt about it. Much easier, much faster on the way up. I want to look at the shock next, but just looking at it quickly, it doesn't look like I can get in there and service the shock without getting rid of the nitrogen. And if that's the case, then I won't be able to charge it. And I don't see a Schrader valve on it, so I'm not sure it could be recharged. I gotta take another look at it and then measure the overall length from eye to eye.